Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of Talking Treasure. Today, we explore one of my favorite types of collectibles, one that I collect extensively because I look at them the same way I look at musical instruments, as functional art.
Serve, backhand, forehand, backhand, Rolex, backhand, forehand, determination, and a shot of Rolex.
With billions of dollars in marketing behind them, brands like Patek Philippe and Rolex have dominated both the retail and secondary market, bringing in sky-high prices at auction and making these pieces highly collectible by thousands of watch collectors around the world. As a musician, I've had the honor of working with both Rolex and Patek Philippe in different capacities. While an undergraduate at Princeton University, I won the Rolex Mentor and Protege Arts Initiative, a prestigious program that paired me with my mentor, the great Pinka Zuckerman. They also helped fund my first major recording with the London Philharmonia Orchestra, conducted by Maestro Christoph Eschenbach. This recording was a huge project that cost money that my family and I didn't have at that time, but one that propelled my viola career moving forward. I continue to owe Rolex a huge debt of gratitude, and I promised myself once I made it big in the business world that I would buy a huge collection of Rolexes as a means of repaying them. But a fun fact is that the Rolex company is actually a non-profit foundation. I've gotten to know Patek Philippe and its president, Terry Stern, over the past few years. They invited me and my orchestra to perform at two of their grand exhibitions. The first at the Met Museum's Temple of Dender in New York City, and the other in Singapore at the Marina Bay Sands just last year. Each time I saw Terry, I pressed him on getting access to one of the most difficult watches on the planet. The world record price for a watch up until 2017 was $17.8 million at Phillips auction for Paul Newman's own Rolex Daytona from 1968, a watch model that he pioneered and wore as his everyday watch. The watch, a gift from his wife, Joanna Woodward, had always been considered the holy grail for watch collectors. It was inscribed, "Drive Carefully Me," on the back, alluding to Paul Newman's race car driving days. It was a watch that attracted collectors from all walks of life: motor car collectors, watch collectors, Hollywood collectors, and American history collectors. To date, there are only 2,000 Daytonas with this kind of exotic dial. Since that auction record, the value of all of these pieces skyrocketed. So much so that it knocked out this collector who kept his $346 Daytona in pristine condition. Rolex will continue to be the brand associated with sports. Just look at all the sporting events that they sponsor. And as a foundation, I couldn't be more proud to be part of such a generous company. Of course, Patek Philippe, a family-owned company with a considerably small production output and creators of some of the most complicated wristwatches owned by Queen Elizabeth II, Albert Einstein, and Pablo Picasso, could not be outdone by Rolex. Last year, a one-of-a-kind watch known as the Grandmaster Chime, reference 6300A, sold at a Christie's charity auction for a whopping $31 million, smashing the record set by the Newman Daytona. Funny enough, this watch wasn't even made of gold or platinum. It was made of stainless steel. I guess two of the most expensive watches ever sold were made of the cheaper metal. The Grandmaster Chime has an extraordinary 20 complications, including a grand et petit sonnerie, a minute repeater, a perpetual calendar with a 4-digit year display, second time zone, and a 24-hour and minute subdial. The watch's most unique feature is front and back dials, one salmon-colored, the other black, that can be flipped or reversed. Having been part of the Grand Exhibition, I've had the pleasure of witnessing how difficult it is to make a watch with just one complication, let alone 20. There are hundreds of parts involved, some of them smaller than a grain of rice, all working together to create a beautiful and functional piece of art. So, how did I get access to some of the most in-demand sports models by Patek Philippe and Rolex? Well, it helps to be a viola soloist. But a good working relationship with a certified watch retailer is a great start. The more you work with a retailer and the more business you do with them, the higher you get up on their lists, which gives you access to the most desirable pieces on the market. And always be persistent. Follow up with them about their new inventory. It took me 3 years to finally crack the Nautilus code. But it was worth the wait, as I got my new trophies. I will continue to collect because I enjoy wearing objects of engineering and aesthetic achievement. If you're interested in learning about the watch collecting world, Sotheby's and Christie's are a great start. They have weekly sales and a lot of their specialists are incredibly helpful. Also check out Phillips as well because they have some exceptional pieces. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Talking Treasure, and I hope to see you next time.